Hi guys, welcome back to Hairdryer Treatment. I'm back. The Soph and Meg show is back. Another big game coming up tomorrow, and we'll also discuss obviously what happened at the weekend because we haven't really had a chance to catch up, of course. But firstly, Meg, thanks for joining us again. How are you doing?
It's okay. I'm all okay. We were just saying, like, I'm absolutely shattered, but I'm all right. I'm okay. And I just feel like, I don't know. I've been waiting. I'm waiting for the game tomorrow. Like, I'm already waiting for it. And normally I'm like, oh, game day. But like at the moment, I'm just thinking, oh, I need this game to just come and so we can get on with it because I just feel like it's a bit of a nifty one.
Yeah. Andrew's asking if Cavani is fit. Rumours are Cavani's going to be involved tomorrow. Yes, which is it's a good boost, isn't it, Meg? Do you think? I mean, I do think this, but against Chelsea at the weekend, do you think not having Cavani? Do you think that was a big miss for us?
Yeah, what we saying last stream about it could be a 0-0, it could be a 0-0. We talked about all the wanting goals and yet there was
And
nothing.
trying not to get a 0-0.
And then just having a presence like Cavani, you just kind of miss not only his ability but just his character. Would he have brought something else to the game a little bit? But yeah, I think he's been a big miss.
Yeah, definitely. But I am buzzing his back, and I'm like you. I think it's kind of like you're just counting down the hours until the game kicks off, isn't it? Like from obviously when your last game finishes, you got another midweek one coming up, and it's kind of like you're just waiting that time to tick by. And yeah, and I think especially after the game at the weekend, obviously no goals again for us. It was frustrating, and I think that I'm hoping that the players come out and kind of make amends for that. But before we go on to the Palace game tomorrow, we'll do a little recap of that Chelsea game. Obviously, you guys saw me live on the watch along on Don Robbie's channel. Trust me to be on for a 0-0. That's all I'm saying. Trust me to be on for that. But yeah, Meg, what are your thoughts on that game? And I'll obviously share mine in a minute, but I'd like to hear yours. Really, I haven't really spoke to you since that.
It wasn't even like a thrilling 0-0. It was just one of those games where we sat here and said it's really hard to predict because you don't know how Ollie's going to go into this game. Where do we think he's going to go all out for it, or do we think he's going to not risk it as much and make sure that we don't lose all 3 points? And I think that's just how the game was. I think Chelsea started the better. I also think Manchester United had periods of play where they were on top, and we did discuss on the way home. We half created opportunities, and if our final ball had been better,
yeah,
they would have been they would have been not dead cert, but you'd had a great opportunity to score. But we just couldn't find that through ball, and I just think we didn't lose, and we're still keeping ourselves where we should be. But yeah, on a positive note, we didn't lose, but there was probably chances for both teams.
Yeah, I completely agree. Obviously, Robbie was grilling me saying that United aren't going to win anything under Ollie. Big games, our record is woeful, to be honest with that. And from my point of view, I look at that and I said this to Robbie, and I don't know if it's on camera or off, but I said that since that battering against Spurs, and yes, Martial got sent off and whatnot, but since that happened in a big game, it's almost like Ollie is scared to lose from that point. He's much more content with us being like disciplined. We defended really well against Chelsea, but for me, we're sacrificing the talent that we've got going forwards. Do you feel, Meg, that Ollie needs to be a bit braver in these games? Because I genuinely feel that you look at the Manchester derby, 0-0 boring draw. You look at the Arsenal game, we were poor. You look at Chelsea again. Like I just felt like we didn't really get out of second gear. I felt like they were there for taking in a sense, and I just feel gutted that we didn't take advantage of that.
Yeah, it would probably sat here now thinking because it was a 0-0 and we didn't let them score, why didn't we go on and score? Why didn't we go and take the game? But then I suppose what you can never. It's easy to look in hindsight. You can obviously never predict what might have been. But imagine if we had gone for it and it cost us 3 points. And the uproar and where we could have been if that 0-0 for Man City. What if that was a loss? The two Chelsea games, both 0-0. What if they were lost? That's although that's 3 points, it's only 3 points. It's still, if you look at the table right now, that moves you right down. So yes, okay, they're not the most thrilling games, but we're not losing. And I think perhaps we have been at times we've lost games where we should have won. And I think against the teams that are in and around us, which is like Chelsea and Man City, we cannot afford to lose at all.
Yeah. Good evening to Doug. Doug is at work. Thank you so much for popping on, Doug, and I hope you're doing well. I hope work's going well too. Thanks for tuning in. Good evening to Acid as well. Acid, I hope you're good. Thanks for tuning in again. Cavani is class, but same as Tony, doesn't create enough in the box area. Cavani 22 games, 6 goals. Martial 7 goals shows this. We definitely need to be better going forwards, 100%. And like we've already just mentioned, especially in the games against the big six, you'd call them, the amount of nil-nils, the amount of times that we haven't registered, like it's not good enough, isn't it? And that's what I feel. I think I'm Ollieing, well, I'm not. I'll never say I'm Ollie out, I'll put it that way, but I understand the criticism towards him. But you have to be honest, in these kind of games, it just seems to show that we need to be a bit braver. And I know that, like you say, he's in some ways he's happy at the clean sheet and we haven't lost these games. It could have been a different story, which I completely understand. But as Manchester United manager and as Manchester United in these games, for me, we just need to be braver and we need to do a bit more, Meg.
Yeah, I think perhaps I'm sitting on the fence a little bit and trying to see what where the positives are. I get that.
Yeah.
If we want to build from where we are now, these are the types of games that we have got to go out and win.
Yeah.
This isn't just going to be a 100-meter sprint. This is obviously going to be a bit more of a marathon. And I think right now we're kind of finding our feet. And if we are looking at this as a transition of, we've been through a transition from when Sir Alex Ferguson left, but of this kind of like progression that we're on, we're finding our feet in these big games. That's what we're saying now. And it's now building from this and moving forward. So next season, are we going to sit here and say, well, we've got ourselves into this position already, which is second in the table. Now we've really got to go and push on. And I think once we build a bit more confidence, then we will do that.
Yeah, I'm not sitting here saying I'm Ollie out because we haven't got points in these games. I'm just sitting here saying, for me, like, to be Manchester United manager, like, we need to do better in these games. But I'm sure Ollie is aware of that as well. But that record just does not look good, does it? Ryan says, surely the game tomorrow has to be more exciting than those 2 0-0s we endured last week. Meg, I mean, I'm not going to jinx it and say we expect to see goals because last time we said that we've had 2 0-0s, but we've got to be better, haven't we? Surely. And Cavani coming back in, like I say, it's not like he's going to walk back into the starting lineup, and I'm sure he'll take some easing in. But him being back in the squad, that should be a boost, shouldn't it, for us?
Yeah, I think when you go on this like goal drought, obviously the quicker it ends, the better. But it's just a confidence thing, isn't it? Like the more it just goes on, you kind of feel like, when's this goal coming or where's it going to come from? The fact that Cavani's back in, like I said, it's not just about his ability, but having that kind of character in and around the dressing room, bit more of an experienced head. Can he like talk to the players around him? The manager will do that, and the playing at the Premier League for Manchester United, they're going to know that they need to just be patient. It will come eventually. But I just think perhaps having a player like Cavani, that experience in and around the changing rooms, will really help some of the younger players, especially.
Completely agree. And all of the Villa says that McTominay cross at the end was your best chance. I really thought you were going to win it. Exactly. There was a few. I remember 2 occasions where Bruno broke out and it was a simple ball for a player of his talent, and he ended up putting it behind Rashford or overhitting it. There was times, Meg, like you say, when we did counter attack, and I said this to Robbie as well, that if we had scored one of those breaks, people would have been saying it was a masterclass from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But because we didn't score on the break, because we didn't take advantage of that, obviously we ended up with a 0-0. But again, it boils down to us not being clinical enough. But I wouldn't even say clinical at the weekend. I just don't think we were good enough going forwards at all. We didn't get close enough to the goal really to be clinical. I did get your little text, Meg, when I was live when Fred nearly scored a right foot banger, by the way, from the edge of the box. I thought that was in, and I was about to lose it. Like, honestly, I thought that was in. Like, we literally said, and I said it on the stream on here, that if Fred scores a banger with his right foot, because we were joking about it, I don't know how I'd react on that live stream, but yeah, he nearly did that, to be fair. But I felt going forwards, we just simply weren't good enough, and we needed to be better against Palace, and obviously we've got City at the weekend as well. But look, we're not sitting here and saying, look, we're up there for the title. Obviously, we'd like to stay within touching distance of City, of course we would, but we've openly said on here, for us it's about getting top 4 again, ideally not getting dragged into that dogfight and staying up in second so we can just be above that. That's what we said, isn't it? And if we keep dropping points like that, Meg, we're going to be in this dogfight, aren't we?
We are, but I think, again, old positive pants over here thinking, well, we didn't stay on the same amount of points. We still picked up a point, and it means that Chelsea didn't pick up all 3 to then obviously catch back up with us. It's a bit like a 6-pointer, isn't it? Where if we hadn't got any points and they've caught up 3 points as well. But yeah, you're right, totally. Okay, it's City's to lose, but do I think they'll drop points again? The likelihood is that they probably will at some point. They probably, or it'll go very, very close. And we've just got to take our opportunities. And okay, we didn't come out with all 3 points, but we still just clawed a point. We've still got that point on the board, and it's another game down. So, yeah, I'm still sat with my positive pants on.
Stanley says Roy Keane was spot on regarding the obsession with clean sheets. United need to be thinking about scoring goals. We've had this debate before. Obviously, Meg plays centre back, and she says obviously keeping a clean sheet is crucial. But for me, as an attacking minded player and as a fan, I'm sitting here thinking I'd rather see us beat a team 5-4, concede 4 goals, but still come out with a win. Just because I know the talent we've got going forwards, and it just frustrates me to see it. I just don't feel like we're getting the best out of that talent going forwards. You know what I mean? And it's upsetting to see that. But look, like you say, Meg, you have to look at the positives. It's pointless dwelling on that now. We need to move on. But Ollie, moving forward, he needs to change these these draws into wins, doesn't he? That's the progression that we need to make. We need to end up changing these draws and turning them into wins. And simply to be Manchester United manager long term, that's what needs to happen. Dehaya, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, despite LVG and Jose, better pedigree of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, is the first man since Fergie I believe can do it. We tried everything except manager 3 season plus. Exactly, we've said this before, Meg. A lot of people saying Ollie out and that, and obviously, firstly, I'm saying, well, who's coming in if it is Ollie out? Who out there right now do you think can just step right in? But also, it's that case of starting all over again, isn't it? Every time you get a new manager in, it's like a clean slate, and you're starting again. You might have a new manager boost for a little bit, but ultimately, it's just a start. Like you're literally restarting what the previous managers had to do, aren't you? So for me, I don't think that's the answer right now. Not right now, anyway.
No, I think Solskjaer definitely kind of like steadying the boat a little bit. We've been through like some turbulent times as Manchester United fans in the past decade. We had that incredible feeling when Sir Alex Ferguson left. We all knew it was going to happen at some point, and then it just hasn't seemed to work with the managers that were previously chosen. Solskjaer's come in and steadied the ship a little bit, and okay, it's not been the greatest of football at times, but it's also got us into Champions League last season. It put us into second position at the moment for this season. We're doing all right in the cups. Okay, last season got to the semi-finals, didn't progress, but that's something to build on. That's something that we've not really been near. Okay, with Jose we did, but it's not really something that we've been consistently doing. But managed to get to 3 semi-finals last season, and I just think if you were to remove him now and bring in a new manager who wants new players, will look at certain players in this team right now and say not good enough, and then you're changing the whole system again, and it's just kind of like a revolving door, isn't it? And then what happens? They start bad form, new manager comes in. I want different players. I want this system, and I think you just have to be patient and give time to a manager. And I think right now we're doing that, and we are seeing the benefits of it.
Sometimes. I'm gonna have him there sometimes. So man says, I'm bringing this up as well because this is a controversial one. The penalty, I saw it live, and in all fairness, we don't have the sound on and stuff. I genuinely thought he pointed for a penalty at first. Like I cheered in the studio, and I said Fernandes is back. Obviously, that wasn't the case, but I genuinely thought that penalty was given at first. But at the same time, when I did believe it was given, I was like, that's a harsh penalty for me. If that's given against me as a player, like I would be livid. I think he's trying to push Greenwood out of the way, and when you slow it down, it looks a lot worse, doesn't it? But after watching it back several times, Meg, you have to say, like, we've seen those given with VAR, haven't we? And the fact that VAR told the ref to go and look at it as well tells me that they obviously believed it was a penalty. What's your whole thoughts on it? Obviously, we have to be honest and say we can't just rely on a penalty being given. We didn't do enough to win that game. Firstly, we have to say that. But that could have been a big turning point, couldn't it?
Definitely. And my whole thought on that is, as of this season, that's a pen. It's because of the way that the rules are. And I don't agree that it should. If it was against me, I'd be saying all day long it's never a penalty. But because of the way that the rules have been interpreted this season, it is a penalty. It hit his hand. His hand wasn't next to his body. His hand was like a little teapot up here. That's not a natural position. For me, it's a penalty. And I think it's just the consistency of the rule. If you're going to give it, and have been given it at times this season, and I'm not saying that I personally agree that they've all been penalties, because I don't. But if you're going to interpret the rule to that, like to literally to that, and be that petty about it, then it was a penalty.
Yeah, what's your thoughts about the whole Luke Shaw situation as well? I saw you tweeted it. That was the first I saw actually your tweet, and I was like, "Is that really being said?" And then I looked at it, and it obviously had. They've come out and said obviously they're not going to do any. There's no punishment to Luke Shaw for what he said and whatnot. But if that's true, Meg, and you have to say it kind of looks like it is, like that's disgraceful, isn't it?
I've read today that apparently he misinterpreted the conversation. I was shocked to hear that they were even thinking of taking further action, because for Luke Shaw, he was repeating what he had heard. But yeah, if that was the case, why?
Yeah.
I actually shared a video last night, and I'd love to hear people's thoughts on this, because especially you. So it was about a referee in Australia who was wearing a mic throughout the whole game.
But,
You could
yeah,
hear
like in
you can hear all the conversations. You can hear the VAR. He goes over to the linesman and talks to him, and they're communicating the whole way through the game. And obviously he discusses to the players. You can hear the conversation between the players and the ref as well. Why is that not being used? Honestly, it was so good to listen to. My only thing is, I do not know how they don't get tempted into shout and shoot at the players. Because at one point in the video that I shared, the goal like opened up for this player, and even I was like, "Oh shoot!" And I was thinking, "Oh, how does the ref not encourage them?" But you know what I mean? Yeah. I won't be able to keep my mouth shut.
I think what it boils down to, if I'm honest, I think refs, especially in this country, don't want to be held accountable as much. I think there's a lot of pressure on them that you can hear every conversation, and I just think refs, I don't know, I just feel like it would show them in a bad light. And look, some of the decisions this season have been absolutely woeful, haven't they? Absolutely woeful. And VAR, to be fair, have corrected a lot of them, but also the rules of VAR we've already mentioned are a bit of a mess anyway.
But look, because they don't come out and explain it afterwards.
Exactly, yeah.
As fans, as players, you don't get any clarity on why they made a certain decision. Now, if they came out and said, "Oh, I made this decision because of X, Y, Z," and okay, if they got it wrong or not, they've still come out and given their reason as to why they made a decision.
Yeah, I agree.
But because they don't, it's kind of left in like no man's land, and nobody really knows why.
Yeah, it's like that whole thing with Lee Mason, though, isn't it? Who's now pulled his calf apparently, so he's not officiating this weekend. But yeah, he with that whole free kick situation, if he'd have come out and just said, "Look, I made a mistake," the players, they would have been a bit pissed off at it, but they would have understood it a bit more. But to try and like cover it up, go and look at VAR and stuff, he just made it worse for himself, in my opinion. I agree with Ryan there. That's what I was trying to say. Basically, I think like the FA protect the referees, and they don't want the ref to kind of come under that extra pressure. Do you know what I mean? I feel like they do protect the referees a lot, and I think that's what it comes down to, and that's why they don't do it. But I agree, Meg. Personally, I think to be more transparent with the fans, even in stadiums. I mean, I've been at Old Trafford when you're waiting for a VAR decision and there's no screening, you can't see what's going on. I think there needs to be more transparency between fans, between officials, so everyone understands what's going on, because sometimes, to be fair, we've been fuming at VAR decisions, but later on when it's been explained, you kind of think, "Oh, I understand it now, that was the rule," kind of makes sense. Yeah. But at the time, in the heat of the moment, you don't know that. So I think that communication is essential, and I would personally like to see that. But I do think it comes down to the FA protecting their referees ultimately. But kind of gutted that I didn't hear my dad going mad about the goal, because Wolves apparently are losing 1-0, Dendoncker on goal. I think my dad's working in Scotland at the minute, but yeah, surprised I still didn't hear him, to be fair. But he's livid at Wolves, as he normally is. He is this season anyway, definitely. But look, Man City playing Wolves today, already 1-0 up. I think it's realistic. Like, we've got to focus on ourselves, and we've got to take it one game at a time. Starting tomorrow at Palace. Palace is never an easy one. I've been to quite a few Palace games, and it's never an easy one. I believe Zaha is out injured. He was obviously one of their main threats, you'd say. So if that is true, are you feeling confident going into this one? And I say confident loosely because we both know how we feel going into United games.
The only thing that troubles me is this fact that we haven't scored in the last two, and I just think you've got to try and not that sleep into your play and into your head, and you've just got to try and stay confident in what they do. Do I think we will score? Yes. So I think that'll be fine. And again, we said it in the last stream about.
Oh, he's back apparently. He's back. which is gutting.
Great news. I think we've just kind of got to stay confident and just pick up the points. And it's about picking up points, isn't it? Constantly right now.
Yeah, Benteke, to be fair, scored a few goals recently. I don't know whether I'll say one great finish recently, should I say. That it was against Brighton, last minute snatch and grab goal.
Yeah.
Great finish, by the way. Great finish. But it's I believe Zaha's out. I heard he was out. If it is true that he's back, then obviously that cuts him. But I feel like he's out. And if he is back, I doubt he'll be fully fit. Let's put it that way. But Eze, for me, is a player this season. What a signing he has been. I'm still very young. But playing against Manchester United, as you always feel, it's going to be like a cup final, isn't it? They've got players, haven't they, Meg? They've got players who can definitely cause us trouble. We need to bring our A game and we need to be up for it. We defended really well against Chelsea, but it's going the other way, isn't it? We need to be more clinical. We need to move the ball faster. And we need to take a few more risks. We can't just play it safe. Palace will grow into this game, I feel. And the longer it goes on, if we don't score early, then, like I say, that they've got players to hurt us.
Yeah, it just got to be not even clinical in terms of in front of goal, but like that final pass that we said, a couple of times against Chelsea wasn't good enough. Those passes have got to be on point to break defences down. That's whether you split the defenders or if it's a cross, it's got to be on point. That's I've just seen this in the chat. I'd love to know what video they've seen.
Yeah, let us know what video it was in, what bar, whereabout. That's amazing. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And I hope you're doing well.
Which bar are we in?
That's mad. Eze was dropped by Arsenal, Millwall, Fulham and Reading. What a mistake that was. Yeah, to be fair, obviously he's a QPR. He did stand out in the Championship. Like, I saw a few QPR games and I thought when he came on, he looked really sharp. And you can just tell, can't you, with these kind of players, like they've just got something different. And you could see that with Eze. And like I say, a really good signing, to be fair, by Palace. And he's settled well at Palace. I just hope that we can keep him quiet, to be honest with you. Inzaghi says guaranteed their keeper will have a worldie. I guarantee that too, Meg. Always happens, doesn't it? The one I'll never forget is Pope against us for Burnley. I think it was like 2 seasons in a row, to be fair, at Old Trafford, Burnley. Like, we literally peppered their goal and we just could not score. I think Heaton was one season and Pope was the other. And it's probably the best goalkeeping display I've seen. It was just ridiculous. But Palace haven't had, you'd say, not an amazing season. A bit up and down in terms of the results. Like I say, they have got individuals with that star quality. But normally when Zaha's not there, it makes me feel a bit more confident about playing them, I'll be honest. But Cavani, obviously, is going to be back involved with the squad. We don't know what involvement he'll have, whether it be starting or what. What would you do if you were Ollie, though? Martial obviously came on against Chelsea, didn't really touch the ball. To be fair, he didn't have a lot of time, did he, on the pitch? Do you think that because we've got City at the weekend, do you think Martial will start, or can you see Cavani coming straight back in?
Because of the way that it's been, I can probably see Cavani coming straight in. I feel like he just gives us a bit more of a presence. Something different, something because he's a bit more of a target player for defenders to handle. Because you know that you've got to be close to him, but obviously you don't want to get done with one touch. Or if it's a different player to obviously to Martial, but yeah, I would probably start him. Give us something different.
I would too. But obviously, something like Greenwood, Dan James as well could possibly still start. I mean, what's your thoughts on Dan James's performance? Because Robbie on the channel I was on Don Robbie channel, he was going mad about James. He was saying that he's poor. He kept saying, take him off. I don't know about you, but going forwards, I felt like he was one of the better players. I'm not saying he was the best player on the pitch by any stretch, but I wouldn't say like he was awful. He wasn't the worst player on the pitch either.
No, but he wasn't awful. Like we've said, I think the attacking wise, we weren't great. I think both sets of defenders, both the Chelsea and Manchester United, had a better game than their attacking counterparts. So, just not a standout performance.
I agree with that. Napoleon York Andrews, thank you so much for that. Thank you. And if you are interested, I am back on the Don Robbie show on Sunday. I'm going back to London for the derby. Hopefully it's not another 0-0. Otherwise, they'll never get me on the show ever again because I'll be known as the 0-0 jinx. So I hope that it's not that. But yeah, I'll be doing a live watch along. So obviously feel free, guys, in the chat. I would appreciate you coming over to support. There's a lot of Chelsea fans in the support the other day. I know I was on their turf. I was in London. But yeah, come and back me, please, guys. I'd appreciate that. But we've obviously Palace coming up and then City at the weekend. For me, I feel like he'll rotate a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised to see Cavani on the bench and then maybe Martial starting. I would rather see Cavani start, if I'm honest, but I can kind of understand Ollie's thinking. Probably not thinking Cavani can play 2 games in such a short period of time after being injured and being out and whatnot. So that could happen, but would you start Dan James or would you go with Greenwood then? If that's the case, say for example Martial starts centrally, obviously you can have Rashford on the left and then Dan James on the right, or would you have, for example, Rashford on the left, Greenwood on the right, or Martial on the left and Rashford on the right? Like, there's so many players to choose from. I just want these players to get back firing.
I would always go with Rashford on the left. And I've always said about this partnership with Cavani and Greenwood, and we can only talk about obviously seeing them in the last game, and they've obviously trained in between this time, so we could be saying one thing and something completely different could have been happening in training. Greenwood could have been on fire, Dan James could have been on fire in training, and then you're kind of saying, well, why is that? Why is Greenwood starting if Dan James has been really good in the last game, but actually the in-between training sessions has said something different. But for me, I think I'd go Rashford, Cavani, Greenwood.
Yeah. Ahmed on the right, I would love to see that. I obviously didn't get on at the weekend. I don't think he'll be in Ollie's mind just yet. I think it's a bit early on the cards, but I would love to see that still. I was going to say that. I would love to see that. Ryan said he just wants to see me react to a goal. Trust me, I want you guys to see me react to a goal as well. I want that as well. Hopefully that happens at the weekend.
Honestly, if it's a 0-0 at the weekend, you are actually cursed. You're not going down again.
Robbie will never invite me ever again. Come on, United, do not let me get down, please. Most someone we spent on. So we're talking about signings. Talking about signings, actually. Some rumours circulating today. I'll start with.
Are you going to say the S word?
I'll start with the S word. Obviously, there's a Pepsi advert going on with Pogba. Pogba said he's finally on the same team. Do you read into that too much? I mean, I always say to you guys, don't get too sucked into these rumours and whatnot. But that was teasing, wasn't it, that, Meg?
It was, but the headline last season was, it's a done deal, Sancho's on the plane coming over to Manchester. So I'm not getting sucked into it. I'm not going to read anything into it. Because if I read, we all read into the fact that I thought he was on the plane coming here. I genuinely thought he was arriving in Manchester any moment, and he was still sat in Germany. So yeah, not getting into the hype of it. Not until we know for sure. I'm not reading into it. It's all a bit of like game playing, isn't it? A bit of fun.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's teasing, and I like the idea of it, of course, but I'm not getting too sucked into it just yet. And then the other one, obviously, is Raphael Varane, a player that we've been linked with many times. I remember Van Gaal being in charge, and again, we were told that he was signing new deals. You know what happens? They always get new deals, these players. They use Manchester United as a tool to boost their own contracts. This time, Meg, could it be real, do you think? Obviously, I think there's two journalists, aren't there, who were reporting that this is an opportunity for United to sign Varane. And would you like him at United?
Yeah, I think. But again, like you said, do you get sucked into the hype of it? We've been there, we've had this headline that he's coming over to Manchester United, and we're still waiting on that to arrive. It's never happened, it's never materialised. So whilst you kind of sit there and read these headlines with a little bit of a smile and think, oh, okay, not drawing myself into it just yet.
That would be my advice to everybody, because remember that transfer window, Meg, when we were saying that Sancho window, we felt mentally, physically drained from it. Ended up with Cavani, everyone was kicking off, and now we absolutely love the guy. Just do not get sucked into any of the rumours. That's my biggest advice, and it's hard not to be fair. But yeah, it's a nice rumour to have though, and if it turns out, obviously that'd be fantastic. I would love Varane at United, to be honest. I've always said it. Really good centre back, quick, reads the game well, really well experienced. Obviously, it's French as well, so maybe that will encourage Pogba to stay. Who knows? But I would love Varane at United. Let's look at the predicted lineups. Andrew's given us his. Let me know in the chat, guys, what your predicted lineup is too, and obviously we'll read them out, and me and Meg will do ours. So we've got De Gea, Wan-Bissaka at right back, Bailly and Maguire. Bailly coming out with Lindelof. Luke Shaw, Matic, Fred, James, Fernandes, Rashford and Greenwood. Interesting. So 2 left foot CDMs. That's what we dread to see, Meg, but could happen. We've already said we could rotate because City at the weekend. That I don't think, to be fair, I don't think that's a bad shape of a lineup. What's your thoughts on that?
Okay, yeah, because the players that you're going to look at, really, I think that will be kind of rotated is the Bailly Lindelof, because I think he'll go with the Lindelof and Maguire for City. So if he wants to protect him, then Bailly will come in. Matic and McTominay, again, I think, depending on what he wants to go for City, and if he wants to protect a player, then that'll be changed. I think De Gea will keep Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Shaw, Fred, Fernandez, Rashford are all starters, and then I think it's either we've got Greenwood or James, Cavani and Martial, and Matic and McTominay. They're the ones that you kind of like, which way are you going to swing on it?
Lucas 8 says De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Fridge, Shaw, Fred, Bruno, Rashford, Greenwood, James. I think, to be honest with you, what I would like to see, I'm thinking, do we really need 2 CDMs against Palace? And that's because I just want to see us take more risks. And I wouldn't mind actually seeing Donny put in that midfield. So maybe put Fred in there and Donny, or McTominay and Donny, and then Bruno ahead of them. So you've got more of a free roam player in there, not so much that defensive-minded player. Do you think this could be a good game for Donny to come back in? Because obviously he was out for a little bit injured, wasn't he? He hasn't really had a run of games. Palace could be a nice game for him, Meg.
He scored for him. He scored against Palace, didn't he, to start the season? Didn't he grab a goal? And we lost 3-1. And I'm pretty sure Donny came on and scored. So it'd be a great game for him to come into, I think. I don't see him starting against City. So why not bring him in, have a little bit of a rotation, like I said, protect players that he does probably want to start for the City game.
Yeah, Ross says De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Boye, Maguire. A few people said Boye, to be fair. Tellez, Matic, Fred, James, Bruno, Rashford, Martial. Not a bad show. Let's go for ours, Meg. So I'm guessing you're going to say De Gea in goal.
De Gea.
That save, by the way, I thought was really good, by the way, from Ziyech. The strong hand.
Yeah.
I'm going to add that in there because obviously he's had a lot of stick of late and I thought it was a good save.
De Gea, Wan-Bissaka. De Gea, Wan-Bissaka. I'm not putting Maguire next to Wan-Bissaka, but Maguire and Shaw. And then it's going to be... Quite a few people have dropped Bailly in. Maybe I will put Bailly in.
Yeah? I don't think it would be a bad game to put Bailly in.
Bailly, Maguire and Shaw.
Yep. And midfield, would you go with 2 CDMs or do you think maybe Donny could creep into this one?
Again, I just don't know because I don't know how Ollie wants to protect players. I think it will I think it'll either be if Donny comes in, Fred will drop out. I don't know.
McTominay, Donny, what are you saying?
Yeah, but I don't know whether he'll play Matic. I don't know who will play in terms of that Man City game. If
Matic replicates his goal a few seasons back against Palace, I'll take that. That absolute screamer that he scored late on in the game. He only scores screamers, to be fair, doesn't he, Matic?
I don't really know. I find it difficult to predict, to be honest.
It is because I'm thinking I would like to see him rotate, but then us knowing Ollie, I mean, look what he did in the second leg in the Europa League the other day. He still started with a madly strong team, so I still feel like he'll start a strong team. So, tell you what, I'll read my lineup, and you guys in the chat let me know what you guys think about it as well. Obviously, I have no confirmation. This is just purely what I would like to see. So, or what I think I'll see. De Gea, Wan-Bissaka right back, Boye, Maguire. I think Boye could come in for this one. Shaw. I would like to see McTominay and Donny, but I think it'd be McFred in there still. I think he'll stick with that. Bruno in front. And then I've gone for... I think Martial will start. I think Ollie will put Martial centrally. I don't think he'll trust Cavani to play 2 games. Cavani will start the derby. So Martial centrally, Rashford on the left, Greenwood on the right. That's what I think.
I'll swap Martial for Cavani, just to be different. And... do you think he'll play Matic against City? Or do you think he'll play McTominay against City?
I think he'll play McFred against City. I think that's his trusted... Because to be fair, he didn't concede at the weekend and he'll obviously not want to concede City.
So you're going to play him tomorrow and on Sunday?
I think Ollie will. I wouldn't, personally. I would like to see Donny come in, like I say, but I don't know. Like, that's his trusted partnership in the middle. I just feel like he's going to stick with that. But... personally, I feel like we should rotate. I don't know if it's a burnout, maybe while the players are struggling. Like I say, we just didn't go for it at the weekend against Chelsea. Is it down to a lack of energy? Because we defended for so long, just too tired to try and get up the pitch, who knows? But we've got a lot of games, and personally, I think we need to rotate. But I don't know, knowing Ollie, I just feel like he's going to go with his his trusted lineup, and we both know that McFred is his trusted midfield combination, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's just a difficult one to predict.
Yeah, so saying there says that Matic and Scott will start, thinking Matic will come back in. I think I'd rather see Matic and Scott than Matic and Fred, because two left-footed players in there just stresses me out. It's just not balanced at all. So I think if Matic does start, I would rather see, like you say, Fred drop out. Yeah, and him playing there with McTominay, definitely. Did you see someone just said something about Roy in the chat, but did you see the Roy Keane and Carragher debate that was going on, that argument that got really heated about Spurs?
I've not seen it, no.
You've not seen it. You need to watch it. So basically, they're on about Spurs. Redknapp's at the Spurs stadium, and Roy Keane's basically saying that none of the Spurs players would make it into the top teams. And then he ends up saying that he'd take Kane or Sonic United, but none of the other players would make it at a top team. And then Carragher's saying, no, Alderweireld would get into United lineup right now. And he was basically saying, Carragher said that he was going through each player and saying, like Eric Dyer, England international, for example. And Roy Keane was saying, you don't need to be a good player to be an international these days. If you can trap a ball, you could be an international. He's saying that doesn't make you a good player, and they were getting really heated about that. And I just thought it was really interesting. And obviously, I think Roy Keane is one of these you either love him or you hate him. But I agreed with some of the points he made. I also agreed with some of the points that Jamie Redknapp made. But and this is going off topic a little bit, but someone just said Roy and it sprung it to my mind. But what do you think about Spurs? Do you think that they're where they are, or would you say that they're majorly underperforming? Like for me, they've got a very, very good squad, and you'd have to say they're underperforming.
I think they just don't know how to get the best out of them, because I feel like they've got a lot of talent and they've got some really, really...
You did get triggered.
They've got really good players, and I just don't know why they haven't gelled or connected. But like individually, they're very talented. But how do you get those talented players to work together? Because Kane is incredible. Son has been incredible.
And Dombele's had good spells, to be fair.
Yeah, Bale, you give it like the way that he just scores goals just so easily at times. I just don't think they've been able to get the best out of Dele Alli. And we know that he's a good player. So why has he always just like dropped off?
Is that down to Jose though?
This doesn't kind of make sense to me.
We've seen it with key characters before. Obviously, we saw it with Pogba, we saw it with Luke Shaw at United as well. Do you think it's a situation with Jose where these big ego players, you probably say Dele Alli fell into that bracket when he took over, obviously one of Spurs' main players. Like he just seems to clash, doesn't he, with certain players? And I think that's the case with Dele Alli. You don't just turn a bad player. We always say that you don't just turn a bad player overnight. There's obviously something else that's happened there with him. But yeah, he did say some bizarre things, to be fair. He said Reguilon, obviously, who plays at left back for Spurs, he did say that he was an average player. And then Redknapp said that he was at Real Madrid. And then Key was like, well, why did Real Madrid get rid of him then? If he's that good, why did they get rid of him? And it was just really interesting. Like, they both got really heated. They kept trying to move on for the conversation because they could see they were getting more and more irate about it. But they just kept both going at it. I'll have to send you the link. But yeah, I think it's that management to key characters, isn't it? That's what falls into it. Guys, in a second, we are going to give our score predictions for tomorrow's game. So get your score predictions in. It's a hard one to call, Meg, this one. I'm feeling like this is a hard one.
I think it'll be down to the lineup. And it's just like, because I can't even predict the bloody lineup right now, because I just think there's so many different options that you could go for. And whether Ollie kind of has the City game and the Milan game in his mind already. Whether, not that he plays it safe, but does he protect players tomorrow ready for the next couple? Yeah,
obviously away from home as well, so our away form still looking good. And I said this before, the away form looks fantastic, but when you put into against games like Chelsea, games like West Brom, where we could have easily got, to be fair, we could have got beaten in both of them games, if you're honest about it. We're kind of lucky to get a draw. Chelsea, not so much, I'd say. Meg, what's your thoughts on how Chelsea played against us? Because on that live stream that I was on, they were kind of saying that Chelsea went for it a bit more, but Chelsea, I thought, were just as poor as we were. Like, I don't think they were all that either. I think it was just two teams that cancelled each other out.
Yeah, they both had opportunities, and I think just the defence played better than the attack in both of the teams. I think Lindelof. This is another. I'm going to go off a completely different point now because it's going to wind me up because I just remembered that, and we talked about VAR earlier. But Lindelof made an incredible clearance back post.
Yeah, he did,
and it was given as a free. It was given as a goal kick. Why don't VAR just step in? Because we all saw the replay and just say that was a goal kick. That was a corner. Why are we checking people's, somebody's arse offside by a millimetre, and yet we're not even just saying to the ref, "Oh, that was a corner, not a goal kick." When literally we all just sat and watched the replay. Like people at home watched it and was like, "Oh yeah,
that's clear and obvious error, isn't it?"
But why would you not? Why do you not just like in the ref's ear say, "No, that was a corner kick"? It's really obvious from the replay.
That's what I mean. Like that's a clear and obvious error. Isn't that why VAR is there, to correct clear and obvious errors? I don't know, Meg. Who knows?
Well, that's more clear and obvious to me, by the way, than someone's bloody big toe being offside.
Yeah, exactly. Ian says 2-0 Fred to get a goal on Martial. I'd love to see Fred score. I thought he was going to score on my first watch along. I was buzzing, but yeah, Fred Flintstone remained, unfortunately. It just didn't happen. Daniel says 2-1. I'm guessing he means to Palace, because obviously 2 to Palace, but we're away from home. 3-0 to United. 3-2 to United. Matic with a winner. I would love to see that again. A nice screamer from outside the box would do nicely, or maybe a header at the back post right in the dying minutes. I don't care, but yeah, I just want to see us. Meg, we said that the result was more important at the weekend. I think tomorrow more than ever that is the case, isn't it? The result is more important.
Definitely. We need to make sure we get 3 points out of this game.
Yeah, 2-0 to United. 2-0 to United again. 4-1 as long as Zaha doesn't play. Zaha, I don't believe he is going to play. So 4-1 from Mark. My prediction is 1-1, I suppose. But yeah, I hope we don't get another draw. After all of the BS games of late, I bet we win it 3-1. 2-0 to United. Palace an easy win, says JG. I hope not. But who knows what United are going to turn up. That's all I'm saying. Who knows? Let's have a look. 2-0 for United, 2 strong for Palace. I hope so. I hope you're right. Meg, what's your honest feeling going into this one? 2-1 to United, Daniel, mate. He didn't mean United. And 3-1 to United from Napoleon. How you feeling, Meg?
I could change my mind when I see the lineup tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go for See, I was going to go for 2-0 and you put it on the screen so it looks like I'm just read off the screen. Take that comment down. No, yeah, I think it'll be a 2-0. I do think it'll be 2-0.
Another clean sheet, that would be nice, wouldn't it? You know what? I kind of feel similar as well. 2-0. I might even say 3-0. I don't know why. I hope we're going to be up for it tomorrow. And like I say, a clean sheet would have been nice. This is a good point as well, by the way. And Robbie did say this as well. He said that I thought the players couldn't do that. They were stood behind, wouldn't they, shouting out that's BS and whatever they were saying behind the referee. Isn't that not influencing then his decision as well? Like, I feel like it is. But we move on. Who knows? None of us know the answer to VAR. Rashford and Greenwood to score there. Who do you think is going to score our 2 goals, Mick, then, if your prediction's 2-0?
Bruno and Rashford.
500 to 1 for Fred. Maybe even more.
Imagine how much it'd be for Fred outside the box with the right foot.
I know.
If he
I thought it was going to happen as well. I thought it was going to happen.
It was Ollie's reaction afterwards. So.
Yeah. You were closer than you have been before. Well done. Yeah. That's what it was like. I'm going to say 2-0. No, 3-0, actually. I'm going to put an extra goal on this. I'm not copying. 3-0 to United. I'm going for a clean sheet, which is really unlike me, but I'm going for it. Yeah, 3. Because last time I kept saying a draw and that, and then it ended up actually being that. I'm not saying that this week. I'm going 3-0 United. I'm going to say Rashford to score, Bruno Fernandes to get back on the score sheet, and who else am I going to say?
You're going for 3 different goal scorers as well?
Yeah. Greenwood. I want Greenwood to score. And it is a bold prediction. I agree, Siobhan, but I'm going for it because I don't want to risk saying it might be a draw and then end up with that again because, yeah, it just seems to happen, Meg. 0-0 draw on my first watch along. I couldn't believe it. But, yeah, 3-0 to United. Away from home. That form continues. Taking us into that derby game nicely, I would say. What else is to say, Meg? Obviously, guys, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone in the chat tuning in. If you are new, please do hit that sub button. I would really appreciate it. Make sure you go and follow Meg on her social media as well. Meg, if you want to shout out, obviously, where people can find you as well.
I am Look out, that was a really good one. At Meg and Can with a little underscore underneath. And we'll be back on here, as always. Thanks for having me back on.
Yeah, we'll be back on after the game, guys, for a little cool down show as we always are to recap the match. Hopefully celebrating a win, that would be nice, wouldn't it? But guys, please hit a like on the video. I'm so close now to 15k. I think I'm on 14.7 now. It's going up. Please subscribe if you are new. I'd really appreciate it. And as I've already mentioned, guys, go and check out Don Robbie's channel. We were on the watch along, me and Sophie Rose, obviously, against the Chelsea game at the weekend. But I'm also back on Sunday as well for the Derby game. Hopefully a better one there as well. But guys, until tomorrow, keep smiling. And thank you so much, Nippon, for that contribution right at the end. I really do appreciate it. Nippon says, if it's anyone who can end City's win streak, it'll be you guys. I hope so. I hope so. And what a nice note to end on as well. Thank you for that. Guys, take care. We'll see you soon. Cheers.